Today we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. across the country and here in Spokane.
Tracking some widespread snow later on this week. I'll let you know how much Spokane is going to get, as well as the surrounding areas.
Plus, lawmakers in Olympia today heard testimony on proposed gun control laws. Among those giving testimony was Amy Strahan, whose son was killed in the Freeman High School shooting. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Amanda Rowley. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see the first major snowfall this year. Thomas Patrick has the details in the Weather Center. Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Amanda. It's been nice so far the last couple days, but tomorrow is going to be the big weather system that will give us some accumulating snow, and right during the commute hours, too. So right when traffic is going to be at its greatest is when the snowfall will be at its heaviest. So winter storm watches have been issued for northeastern Washington, most of northern Idaho. In fact, Coeur d'Alene just got added to that winter storm watch within the last hour. So that's where most of the snow is going to fall. It'll also be a windy day come Wednesday, and that's the high wind watches you see on the eastern slopes of the Cascades. So our weather system still on the Pacific Ocean, but it's attached to the jet stream, so it will be making a quick arrival, especially come tomorrow afternoon and evening hours. So in terms of just the raw amount of impact it's going to have on the area, it's going to be quite high, especially in those areas that are under the winter storm watch right now. Northeastern Washington, most of northern Idaho, big time snowfall, could be as much as a foot on some of the mountaintops. Spokane, probably more of a medium impact, but it's really right during the commute hours tomorrow evening. That's when things will be quite hectic. Tomorrow morning should be no big issue. Just cloudy skies, temperatures right around 27 degrees. Some frost on the car, so it'll take a couple extra minutes just to scrape that off. But it's that snowfall in the evening commute's going to be the big issue. I'll let you know how much snow is going to fall when it gets started come tomorrow. Those details coming up in your full weather forecast.
It has to stop somewhere.
Strong words today from the mother of one of the victims from the Freeman High School shooting. This morning, Amy Strahan testified in front of lawmakers in Olympia as they heard testimony related to proposed gun control laws. Among those bills, lawmakers are seeking to outlaw what some call high-capacity magazines. Strahan, whose son was killed in the Freeman shooting, spoke in favor of the laws. Our Taylor Vito has been following this story today and joins us now with what Strahan said.
Well, Amy Strahan spoke from personal experience. She argued that the proposed gun control laws are common sense and could potentially help prevent the painful tragedy that she and other Freeman parents have been going through.
My name is Amy Strahan, and I'm here today because my son Sam was shot and killed at Freeman High School.
Wounds that are unimaginably painful. It was almost a year and a half ago when life changed for Strahan. Her son Sam, just 15 at the time, was gunned down by a fellow student who was armed with a semi-automatic rifle and a handgun.
I know how terrible this has been for me, for my family, and for all the other families.
The shooting prompted an emotional response felt across eastern Washington, and one that Strahan now hopes resonates in Olympia.
High-capacity magazines do make shootings more deadly for obvious reasons.
This morning, the state Senate's Law and Justice Committee heard testimony on proposed gun control laws. Some lawmakers are proposing eliminating what they call high-capacity magazines. They want to limit magazines sold in Washington to 10 rounds. Strahan says her son's shooter had a magazine with several bullets.
Had his high-capacity magazine rifle not jammed, just imagine the carnage that would have happened at the school that day.
The meeting wasn't without those on the other side as well. An NRA spokesman called a ban on high-capacity mags unnecessary.
They make up over half the magazines owned in the United States. They're not high capacity. They're not uncommon.
Strahan said that sharing her pain with others, let alone in front of lawmakers, isn't necessarily easy. But she says there can be a solution, one that her 15-year-old's memory can hopefully be part of.
I can't bring Sam back, but if I can make it better for other people so that people don't have to experience this, then I'll do it every day.
There are bills in both the state Senate and House relating to high-capacity magazines. Now, at this point, no votes on either of the measures are scheduled just yet. In the newsroom, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
Today we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This morning, thousands of people of all ages gathered at the Spokane Convention Center for a rally and unity march through downtown. About 3,000 people joined in the day's celebration. Several streets were either partially closed or blocked off. A local organizer who's participated in activism in Spokane throughout the years says the turnout at this year's marches was unprecedented.
It shows solidarity. It shows that we have a lot to fix still. People are angry enough to get away from the comfort of their homes and their couches and their clickers and go be with other people.
From the Indigenous Peoples March to the Women's March and MLK Day, security and preparation for this weekend was critical. KREM 2's Casey Decker spoke with Spokane police about their readiness for the thousands that were downtown over the past few days.
It was a weekend of activism in downtown Spokane. On Friday, hundreds demonstrated in the Indigenous Peoples March. On Saturday, roughly 3,000 in the Women's March, and today, another 3,000 for the MLK Day March. All that marching required a lot of advanced planning, and a sergeant for the Spokane Police Department says because of that planning, the weekend went off without a hitch.
Very smooth. No issues that couldn't be handled. All the organizers did a good job putting everything together, which makes our job a lot easier.
Several streets downtown were either partially or totally blocked off, and there were plenty of police to ensure security.
We have what you see visibly, which is all of the different officers working traffic control. You see different officers working what would be posts for security, and then there's a lot that you don't see, kind of behind the scenes, both around the event and at the perimeters of the event to ensure everybody's safety and make sure everything goes well.
After each march, police promptly moved demonstrators off the street so they could reopen on time.
Anytime we come together as a community downtown, we're going to impact the flow of traffic, but nothing, again, that isn't managed, and most people are very patient.
Both the police and the organizers said the two groups worked well together to set up this weekend's events.
They've got this down now that they know that this is something that looks like it's going to be going on a while.
And for the most part, I've heard no complaints, and everything seems to have gone really well.
In downtown Spokane, Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
We cannot tolerate it any longer. The cup of endurance has run over.
People across the country went out today to celebrate Dr. King's legacy in some sort of fashion. Some marched and some took trips to memorial sites. However, the government shutdown did dampen many people's plans.
There's a deep irony that the place that houses the spiritual and moral legacy of the great unifier has been closed down over the last few days because of the petty politicians.
The lead pastor of the church, Reverend King, co-pastored with MLK Jr., spent the day trying to ease financial hardship brought on by the shutdown. Thanks to Delta Airlines' $80,000 grant, the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Park in Atlanta reopened for the weekend. Well, ready or not, snow is on its way to the inland Northwest. Thomas Patrick has the details to help you plan.